Heard on Thursdays with Nikki is about to go live online. Catch HOT, the iconic radio show that made Philippine FM radio talk, every Thursday on the Monster.
Streaming video on the Monster Facebook page at RX931, the Monster YouTube channel at RX931, and twitch.tv/Monster RX931.
You heard on Thursday's host, Nikki Porter. Stand by and enjoy the program.
Hey, happy holidays, monsters. We're only a few days away from Christmas and less than 2 weeks before we welcome another new year of hot conversations on HOT. That's Heard on Thursdays, the show that made Philippine FM radio talk. I'm your host this evening, Nikki Porter. So what's extra special for tonight's episode and the next 3 Thursdays is that we've invited respected and renowned astrology practitioners to tell us our fortunes for the next year. That's right, monsters. We've finally made it to our traditional year-ender predictions 2024 episodes. And looking back at the year that was, I can only imagine how 2024 could turn out for all of us. So for our first Predictions 2024 episode, we've invited back Filipino Astrologer Resti Santiago. Now, it's important to remember that there are several iterations of astrology, and Resti's practice is one that specializes in medieval astrology. So, in fact, Resti is the leading proponent of medieval and traditional astrology in the Philippines and has been practicing for about 2 decades now, which, by the way, is around the same number of years he's been guesting on Heard on Thursdays. So we'll talk about medieval astrology more later on, but the quick and easy definition of medieval astrology is that it's the kind of astrology practiced by advisors of the kings and queens of Europe. So that's where medieval comes in. It has its roots in Hellenistic Egypt, and although he's been studying and mastering Eastern or Chinese astrology, he has been integrating the two as well. So in addition, from print books published every year, he now offers timing guides in the form of ebooks, timing or date selection service, and business astrology. So in short, monsters, he offers astrology for empowered decision making. Since tonight kicks off our Predictions 2024 episodes, of course, yes, this is the time you can get a free, quick astrological reading, a personal reading from the Filipino astrologer himself. So message your name, your birthday, your birth time, so what time you were born, and then your question, which does not have to be a yes or no question, by the way, on our live stream via Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or through the Monster text line at 0961-1367-931 via Viber or Telegram. So let's get right into it. Heard on Thursdays, Filipino Astrologer Resti Santiago. Woo! Hi, Resti. Nice to meet you in person. Yes, finally.
This is the first time we see each other in person.
Yes, definitely. So, I think ever since I took over in 2021, it was all remote live stream, and up until this point, this is the only time that we have seen each other in person. So great to have you back on the show this time in studio. So to kick off our Predictions 2024 episodes, let's catch up a bit muna. So how has this year been for you personally, astrologically, professionally?
Yeah, everything's great. No, number one, I'm still studying different applications of astrology. I keep on studying something new. And personally, actually, my personal life is also my astrological life.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I've been working on a magazine which we will be releasing in a few months' time. No? And we are very excited because we have gathered a lot of let's say practitioners or students, no, in the Philippines, and this is something new because since the 90s, now this is the first time that there will be a magazine on astrology.
Yeah, in the Philippines, nga, no?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So we'll talk more about that later, but it does seem like an exciting turn of events, especially in your career. So in and it's been a long career for you as the Filipino astrologer, no? So in the 2 decades you've been guesting in HOT, educating monsters about medieval astrology, Eastern astrology, becoming a credible authority and reliable resource. I want to know now, so what can you say has changed for you as since you began this journey of becoming an astrologer?
Number one, I got to meet a lot of people, no, different needs, no,
Mm-hmm.
different. So I studied the different applications of astrology as I got to interact, no, with different kinds of people. No.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a good experience because I also learn from meeting different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so what would be one significant lesson? No, I can't imagine that it was a smooth sailing journey for you to become the Filipino astrologer. So what's
Yeah.
one significant lesson you've learned about your profession whenever you're given the opportunity to educate about medieval astrology, especially for those maybe you've talked about it in front of people who don't necessarily believe or refuse to believe in it.
Talking to people who don't believe in astrology is actually a good experience. No, for example, one of the best clients I had, was a lawyer who kept on asking the difficult questions. No, but somehow I got to answer that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a challenge, but also fulfilling, no, to meet different kinds of people. No? What I do is I try to come up, no, with a system, no, maybe to simplify astrology and also to show that it works. No? I'm
Mm.
not. I don't want to talk about very controversial topics. No? For
Mm-hmm.
example, in the life of a person, for example, a forecast is not just saying that you're going to get married, you're going to get pregnant, or you'll be
Mm.
successful. I use astrology as a tool, no, to help people make decisions or make the right choices. Mhm.
Okay. And so at least you've been able to temper some minds who are still skeptical about the practice.
Yes, no, but there's a movement actually against astrology. No? That's something that I cannot really handle on my own. But
Mm-hmm.
individually, for example, if you come to me, you are not sure about what astrology can do. No? I can
Mm-hmm.
show that it works, no?
Mm.
By studying your life, relating it with astrological cycles, and what's interesting, no, with my clients is that they started with just an ounce of belief, no, and then
Yeah.
and graduate,
Curiosity, no?
yeah, curiosity, and then through the years, for example, I have one client na I started giving her advices. Then I give her different kinds of timing guides, no, and now even their children, no, are consulting with me with their own lives, or some of them are also starting their own businesses. No, so
Mm.
it grows, no, through the years.
I think what's also what's good about knowing this practice and studying it, still studying about it even after more than 2 decades of being a Filipino astrologer, is that you practically know it like inside out. So for those who might need a different way of you explaining astrology to them in a way that they can better understand and see mechanically how it can apply in their lives,
Yeah,
I feel like it's like so much more easier, like, oh, okay, I see how it's not just like haka haka, it's actually
yeah,
you can see somewhat, for lack of a better term, like the science behind
yeah,
it,
yeah.
diba?
Yeah, actually, the word, no, astrology
Mm-hmm.
itself, no, it comes from two words, no, astron and logos. No, logos is logic, no,
Mm-hmm.
so there is I actually use the term astrologic, no, when I'm explaining things, no, there is this astrologic, no, that you can
Mm-mm.
study yourself, no, and once na you got to be familiar with that system, no, you understand also astrology, no, yourself. No? But yeah, I think one problem now that I've encountered, yeah, is that some practitioners, no, are actually using astrology as a doorway, no, or
Mm.
a come on, no, to different disciplines, no, which is no longer astrological.
Mm.
Such as actually, I've seen, some people, no, promoting astrology in connection with, let's say, mediumship, with magic, no. So it's, although I have personally nothing against those disciplines, but using astrology as a come on or intro to that is something that I want to emphasize, that there's a big difference actually between astrology and magic and mediumship.
So then for the monsters who are listening, could you tell us what that distinction would be for
Mhm.
astrology, mediumship, and then magic?
Okay. Yeah, astrology is more of understanding. No? So it's like astrologers don't will not make your problems go away. No? Astrologers will make you understand what's happening in externally, let's say with regards to events, and also internally. And then when you understand that, basically the idea is you make the right decision, not to make the problems go away. So magic as it is practiced by most, actually these are young people, is sort of used as a way to sort of make the problem go away, which is the exact reverse of what astrology is trying to do. With regards to mediumship, there's no connection between astrology and mediumship, but there is a danger actually with that practice. So that's why I want to dissociate. Astrology is neither mediumship or magic.
And just to clarify, mediumship, is that the one where you're like acting as a medium, communicating with
Yeah,
spirits?
yeah. There's a danger to that. I don't know how safe it is, but there's really some danger in that, because you let spirits enter into your body, and I don't know how what harm it can do. But yeah, it's something that we have to be cautious about.
Okay. All right. Well, so for those who are curious or who have associated astrology with mediumship with magic, there's a distinction among the three, and you don't have to group them all together.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
what Resti's saying.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me explain that, especially for the youth.
There we go.
Mhm.
Okay. So what's interesting also is that you've been doing this for more than 2 decades. So when you started out, astrology wasn't widely accepted back then in the way that it's being seen and practiced in recent years. So
Mhm. Yeah.
how did you keep pushing yourself back then, pursuing something that many people like when if probably you would say na you're practicing or you're studying medieval astrology, I would imagine there people would be raising their eyebrows at you
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
being like, what is that and why also. So what worked for you in order for you to pursue it despite the reality?
Yeah. Well, basically, it's because it helped me. It helped me a lot. It helped me understand, myself, what's happening in my life, and then when I got to help others, so I see that that system of astrology really works. Minsan the discussion, it can be very accurate. It can be very accurate, and when you see or when people see that there is actually the astrology is based on the concept that what's above is also below. Once now you see that connection, it's empowering. Mm.
Yeah, it's and it's like what you mentioned, and especially with medieval astrology, like it's proof that with its ties to Hellenistic Egypt, it was like people really were looking up to the stars when the crops would, when it's time to harvest, when it's time to plant. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
really was like you can tell before then it had a
Prac-
significant influence
yeah,
in
yeah.
people's lives.
Practical, no? Practical use also.
Practical use is
Yeah.
actually like a good term to put,
Uh,
especially in terms of medieval astrology. Now, so okay, in that, so when you started out, also, there was no social media. There
mhm.
was no,
Yeah.
there was,
There
it
was
was,
RX.
yeah, there was RX. There
Yeah.
were other media outlets for
Uh,
sure.
uh,
Um, but what were the channels that you would use to spread the word or educate about medieval astrology? So would there be
mm,
newspaper publications, magazines,
yeah.
or apart from, of course, guesting on radio shows as well?
Yeah, yeah. Well, medieval astrology is like it's old but it's new. So that medieval astrology was only rediscovered or revived, in the late 90s. So I actually studied it in 2003, but it took me 7 years, to really let's say use it fully in my
I
practice. No?
see. Okay.
So by that time, I was no longer, let's say, I used to write for ABS, for the the digital portal of ABS-CBN. I used to write for magazines, newspapers.
Mm.
By that time, I was no longer involved, with this media outlets. No? So what I did was I came up with my own publication, which is Medieval Astro Clock, no, to introduce, this system of astrology, intended, to also, to guide the readers, in their daily lives.
Yeah, the medieval astro clock. That's one of the timing guides
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you include.
That's the original, actually. From one book, it became six, but now I trim it down to three.
Okay, okay. So we'll talk about that later
Uh-huh,
on,
uh-huh.
just to refresh the memory of monsters, what each guide can offer. But we let's go ahead and try maybe just one round of personal readings from listeners. By the way, once again, 0961 1367 931 via Viber or Telegram. Go ahead and send your name, birthday, birth time, if you remember the time of your birth. If not, it's okay. It'll be a little bit more generic. Um, and the question that you have, which is ideally not a yes or no question. Ask about love, ask about life, ask about career, whatever floats your fancy. So go ahead. And I have a few already from the text line. So first one is from Gail. Of course, why not? Let's go with let's go internal. Muna here on the monster.
Okay.
So Gail is born March 18, 2000, and she would like to know her forecast in terms of relationships, romantic relationships, and in terms of family relationships.
But does she know her time first?
She does not know her time of birth.
So I don't know if we can be very specific, with those topics, but I'll try.
Okay. She says around 11 a.m. daw.
Okay.
Around that time.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the first question is, let's start with
First one, let's go with romantic relationships in 2024.
Mhm. Okay.
Gusto yung ano yan?
Yeah. Saturn is moving towards our Venus. Venus is the love planet, while Saturn is the planet with rings. No, so
Mhm.
the rings can symbolize either a limitation or a commitment. So I don't know what's
That's interesting. The rings can symbolize limitations
Oh,
or
yeah.
commitment.
yeah.
Wow.
So I need to know the context, but in case, no, if he's already, in case, no, if the person is already with someone,
She is not with someone.
okay.
Just to clarify.
Okay.
She would like to insist.
Okay.
Anyway.
So that ring can indicate a limitation.
Okay.
So
Okay.
she needs to sort of get out of her cocoon, no? Try something new, maybe try a change of, let's say, fashion or looks, no, or whatever. So try something new, explore the bigger world. No? Yeah, parang since we know that Saturn is there coming, so
Mm.
basically it means limitation. But
Mm.
if you want to have a relationship, we have to do the opposite, no, of what the limitation is doing. So you have to get out, no, explore, no, something like that.
Well, okay. And a follow up to that question, actually, aside from wanting to change specific your looks or your fashion style, is it possible the limitations is referring to maybe changing the type of people that she dates?
Yeah. The keyword, well, actually, in terms of astrological philosophy, no, the details can actually depend, no, on what is happening. So Saturn as a symbol is something that limits you. So
Okay.
it's moving there, so it becomes more prominent. No? So you have to find out. That's the logos in astrology. You have to analyze, no,
Mm.
what is it that's becoming Saturn. So if people around you is limiting you, you have to, again, change,
Ayun.
no? Because that's the source of limitation. That's what's limiting you from having the right kind of relationship.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's the first half pa lang
Sige,
of the question.
there's more.
There's more.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, so but Saturn by itself can also mean somebody older.
Somebody older.
Mm,
Wow.
okay.
Okay. Okay. There's no older. There's no like specific range that's referring to, or
Yeah, at least older. No? Let's say 3 years older.
3 years older
Mm,
at least.
mm.
Okay, at least
Yeah.
years. Okay, all right. So Gail would have to update, the age range on her on a dating profile. But anyway, the second half of her question is, what is the forecast on her family relationships next year?
Family. May I know your age?
She's
23,
23.
24, 23. Okay. So I have to do some mental calculations
Halama.
here.
I can help kung kailangan mo.
Okay. Yeah. The family is now ruled by the sun, which is in Pisces. So it's more of fluid, no? Smooth, or even emotional, no?
Mm,
Interaction with the family. Yeah. So it's not bad. It's not good. No? I mean, it's neither
good nor
good
bad.
nor bad. No? So it's
Okay.
just okay.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Before we continue to other readings, let's move the mic closer daw. Our team is saying well, let's hear your forecasts louder daw, Resty.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
there we go.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so first personal reading done. Let's go to the next one. We've got Christine Olga, born September 13, 1994. Uh date, no, not date. Time of birth is 11:20 p.m. So, what would be her year luck in 2024? So, what would be her, let's say, her the theme of her fortune in 2024?
Okay. The reason why we ask for the time of birth
Mm-hmm.
is we compute a chart. No? From the chart, we can see or we can know the so-called ascendant sign. So the ascendant sign is the most important sign in the chart.
Is that the rising?
Yeah, that's the rising
Okay.
sign. No? So in her case, her sun sign is Virgo, but her ascendant sign is Gemini. No? And in 2024, Gemini is the sort of luckiest sign.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No? So by lucky, it means her life, no, because it's her ascendant sign. Her life will be more expansive. No? It's like a new beginning, no, for her.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a good period.
I would like to be you, Christine. To be you in 2024. Okay, so it's looking good. It's looking good for Christine. Let's do maybe one more. We're looking at Mike, born at 10 p.m. On September 27, 1989. So he is asking for what to look forward to and what to be cautious of in 2024.
His sun sign is Libra, and his ascendant sign is Leo. Okay, what's significant or what's prominent next year is that there will be an eclipse on Libra.
Mm.
He has two planets in Libra, no, by the way. No? So his sun sign and Mars is in Libra. No? So it means when there's an eclipse, something significant is going to happen.
Mm.
It can be life changing. No? Sometimes it's difficult, no? So we don't know the context, no? But the idea is he must be welcoming change.
Mm.
The positive use of this eclipse energy is for him um, to reinvent, yeah, himself. No? So yeah, so it might start though with some questions, in his life, what what to do next,
Mhm.
something like that. No? So he needs some form of introspection so that the eclipse will not be drastic. No? So as early as now, he should already be thinking about what to
Mm.
change in his life.
In terms of of eclipses, so it generally generally
Uh-huh.
does it mean does it always mean that there's something life changing, whether good or bad?
Yeah. It can be good. It can be bad if you are unwilling to change.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you have to be open to change in the time of eclipse so that it can work in your favor.
yeah, Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
There. So, Mike, be open to change so that hopefully the lunar eclipse can help you in your life and after some introspection, of course, in what you want to do. Sabi ni Resti, sabi ni Filipino Astrologer, reinvent. Right? There we go. Okay, so we're done with the first round of personal readings. If you are interested in finding out what your life would turn out to be like in 2024. Once again, the text line is 0961 1367 931 via Viber or Telegram. Send in your name, your date of birth, your time of birth, if you know it, as much as possible. And then the question that you have for next year regarding your life, your career, your love, or anything else in between. Okay, and also for those who are watching via via Facebook, via Twitch and YouTube, go ahead and comment the same information so that we can refer to Resti for the forecast. All right, so Filipino astrologer, I feel like that would be a big burden on your shoulders to call yourself that. No, so when did you start to build yourself as the Filipino astrologer, and how did that come about? Na parang when you realized, parang, you know what, I'm going to take the leap of faith and call myself the Filipino astrologer.
Yeah. Well, number one, ever since, no, actually one of our first project as a group, no, I have a group, no, it started as an FB group, but
Mhm.
eventually it also spread, no, offline, you know. So we had some events, no, we meet every now and then, you know. We have a library, we have many things, no. So but our very first project was actually an exhibit at the Lopez Museum. No? So we made an exhibit on the life of the Filipino, the first, no, let's say recognized Filipino astrologer, let's say Serapin Lanot. No, so and then from there, I discovered that there's a lot to do, no, with regards to astrology in the Philippines. Number one, we were documenting the history of astrology in the Philippines. We found out that there are actually local constellations. No? So
Mm.
we move along that type
Local constellations?
indigenous local constellations. No?
Wow.
So parang there's something. No? There's a Filipino, let's say, version of astrology, or
Mhm.
it's actually an archaic form. No? So it's that as the astrology with the houses, but
Mhm.
it's still astrology if you look at it. No? So
Mhm.
there's that idea, and then ever since I wanted to make astrology, let's say, more applicable, no? Or a part of culture as it was in the past. So
Mm.
there's that commitment, no, to do more for the astrology growth, no, in the Philippines.
Mm.
Mhm.
When the last time you guested on Heard on Thursdays, I remember you talking about a specific like a local astrology.
Mm.
What's it called again?
Local astrology
Like
or
like
a constellation, or
like I think it was the how I think local or ancestors
yeah,
before
yeah,
would try to
use,
use it for like for harvesting and
yeah.
everything.
There's actually different names, no, for, let's say, Orion. No? So let's say also
Mhm.
in the Philippines, no, in ancient Philippines, no, Orion was called Balatic, no, Seretar, no. It
Mm.
depends on which tribe. No? So almost every indigenous culture in the Philippines have that. No? And then there's an anthropologist who studied that the Teduray zodiac. No? He
Yeah,
called
the
it
Dura, yeah.
the Teduray zodiac. No? So there's actually six of them, and then these six constellations, no, which is equivalent, no, in the Western system.
Mm-hmm.
So these constellations, no, were used, no, to find out, or to let's say to plan ahead, no, when the harvest, well, actually from the cutting of the trees, no, of the shrubs, no,
Yeah,
uh, they start that when this constellation is rising, uh, uh,
I
uh,
see.
and then when the constellation is already at the, let's say, around let's say 15 degrees, no, before the zenith, no,
Mm-hmm.
it marks the planting period. And when
Mm.
it's about 15 degrees from forward, no, from the zenith,
Mhm.
it means that they have to harvest something like that. So
Mm.
it's visual kind of astrology, and that's really how astrology developed, no, in different countries. No,
Yeah.
it was uh, it was a happy experience for us, no, to discover that this is
Yeah.
actually astrology.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, and again, like with my surprise also, like last year, I still think it's so fascinating that we have our own
Mm.
um even if it was like influenced, or it did get some influence from, Western
Uh,
astrology as well. It's so interesting for us to, to actually practice that here and have ancestors practice
yeah,
that here.
yeah.
I'm curious now, is it possible for us to sort of revive the durai in a way that's applicable in our modern times, or
Yeah,
it
I
can?
think it's possible. No, I think it's possible. Well, with regards to what you were saying, no, parang this idea, this fact that they did that, no, they used the constellation, is actually an indicator also of the level of let's say awareness, no, in
Yeah.
the with the environment. So it's a form of science actually. So that they had, no, yeah. So it tells us of a culture, no, that's very much in tune with nature.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's really I think it would just be fascinating, especially now, to know na, okay, yes, there's some people who practice astrology, but then, to have an appreciation of our own, I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Now we have our roots din pala,
Yeah.
'di ba?
Yeah. Yeah. Then to answer your next question is that I think it's possible that we can study it again, no? Revive, no, the system, no,
Yeah.
maybe in line with with actual observation, no?
Yeah.
Let's say because they use it in planting crops, no, maybe farmers with the help of, let's say, the DOST, can study this system, and then let's see, if it works, or
Mm.
if it can be adapted. I actually saw one study, that says that it was used in the Visayas. No, it took place a few years ago, no? And then they discovered some 2 year cycle, no, of planting. No, so let's say if you plant this. Whatever, it will grow faster on certain configuration. Well, they did not talk about the configuration, but as an astrologer, I saw a configuration that's changing every 2 years. Yeah,
Mm.
so yeah, it can be studied, let's say, scientifically.
All right, there we go. So it's possible naman. Now, okay, so let's dive back into medieval astrology, but refresh everyone's memory. We did talk a little bit about it in our intro, but could you tell us what medieval astrology is, how it differs from conventional astrology found in, publications now and in social media?
Yeah. Let's say our teacher, or Robert Zoller, no, considered medieval astrology as the peak, no, of astrology, no, because astrology has a thousands, let's say 3,000, 2,000 year history, no, and then during the medieval times it was the peak, no, because even kings and queens, emperors, no, used astrology, no, and it has many applications, no,
Mhm.
and it was recognized, no? Actually, even Johannes Kepler was an astrologer. He was called the Imperial Mathematicus. No? So, and one of his tasks was actually to predict the weather using astrology and do some astrological computations.
Oh,
Mm.
interesting.
Mhm.
Kepler, a very well-known historical scientist, by the way, practices astrology.
Yeah.
So who knew?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess you can say before, like, they were interlinked, because it was, I guess, in terms of like sciences. No, you're already looking up at the stars as an
Mhm.
astronomer,
Mhm.
and so you can cross that boundary of like, well, it could mean other things also when you look up at the stars, like what's like what you mentioned earlier, like what is up is also
Yeah, what is
down.
above is also below.
Yeah, it's
No?
also
So there's
below.
interconnection, and if you study modern quantum, let's say, physics, no, they're talking about entanglements, no, at the
Hmm.
quantum level, which is similar to that interconnection between what is above and
Mm,
what is below.
yeah. So for you, practicing as a Filipino astrologer, and practicing medieval astrology, you also practice Chinese or Eastern astrology. Now, that's something that a lot of us are more familiar with,
Mhm.
especially here growing up in the Philippines. But how does the two differ,
Mhm.
and when do you usually rely on one over the other?
Okay. Yeah, let me clarify. No? I only use, let's say, specific Chinese astrological concepts. No? Number also in timing,
Mm.
and also in feng shui. No? So I do practice feng shui. No? So the use is astrology, as I mentioned earlier, can help us understand, no, what's happening. But astrology is not the cure. No? Astrology is not the actual solution. It can help you make the right decisions and come up with the solution, but astrology is not part of the solution. It's like diagnostic.
Mm.
So because of that, no, I studied feng shui, which is more of part of the solution. No? Because if you have a problem, your environment is sort of unlucky, no? So or
Mm.
negative, no? So you have to do something about it. No? So astrology deals on the mental level, decision making,
Mhm.
understanding, while feng shui deals with the physical energy. So it's a good mix.
So it's a combination. It's a
Yeah.
combination of
Mm.
the two. Okay. And but then when it comes to personal use naman, if you were to use it like in your life,
Mhm.
is it more of medieval astrology pa rin, or a bit of feng shui, or a combination pa rin of both?
It's a combination. It depends on the need. No? Actually, even if you study, let's say feng shui, no, it's a very wide topic. No?
Mm-hmm.
You use different tools, or you use different systems, depends on the need. No? But primarily for astrological purposes, I don't use the Chinese astrology. I use Chinese feng shui. No? With astrology, I use the medieval system of astrology throughout, no, since 2010.
Mm.
Mhm.
I'm curious now though, like what kind of questions would the Filipino astrologer ask the medieval astrology system? What do you usually ask, or what do you usually consult
Yeah,
for?
it's the same thing, no? Love, life, family, no? Success, no? The only difference, for example, with modern astrology is that modern astrology was developed, no, as part of parang yung new age movement, no, that
Mm.
everything is possible, no? The idea with modern astrology is you don't want to stifle the spirit, you want it to grow unlimited, no? Something
Mm.
like that, no? Medieval astrology is more down to earth, no? It's practical. What is bad is bad, what is good. There's no in between.
Mm.
So we can say that if you want clarity, no, it can give you more clarity on, let's say, what course to take in college, or whether should you break up with this or not. No?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, if you are a modern astrologer, you would focus on the psychology, why there is a disagreement, for example. No? But with medieval astrology, it can directly tell you that this is not going to work. So
Mm-mm.
it's more direct to the point, and in a way, I would say it's helpful, more helpful.
Mm-mm. Astrology is so interesting because it's like, I mean, of course, there are skeptics around it. There are others who
Mhm.
would believe in it as well, or at least curious in it. Like, if they see it on their feed, their FYP on TikTok, if they see it, come across it, a part of them would want to wonder, okay, well, what does that say about my life or
Mhm.
something? So, as someone who studied and practiced astrology for over 2 decades, why do you think people like to look to the stars for signs and symbols that would influence their life?
Number, because we all want certainty. No? You all want answers to our questions, no? In life. No? And especially now, no, I think astrology is more useful. In fact, no, much needed if they know its purpose. Because we are drowning in information, social media, no, and as we are like zombies scrolling here and there, no. But And I think no, that's one reason then why mental health is a problem in this era. No?
Mm.
Now, astrology can actually give answers. No? Astrology can give meaning. No? Yeah, so I think it's useful or empowering, enlightening if you look astrology that way.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us have a problem with uncertainty in
Yeah,
our
yeah.
lives.
Astrology can give direct answers and guidance.
Mm-mm. A lot of us always try and seek direction, especially in times when we feel stuck or in times of like, love life. Like you mentioned, should I break up? Should I
Mm.
stay in the relationship with someone? And then
Yeah.
you try and do a reading and see what
Uh,
it says, and then maybe make your decision based from that
mm.
or wherever your heart goes.
Yeah, but
naman.
let me clarify also that it's not our intention naman to dictate no
Yes,
on the
yes.
lives or decisions of people. What we should be doing, I don't know if everyone is doing this. What we should be doing is give them no parang a context no on how or why no these things are happening no in relation to the planets no because it's like an objective way of seeing things, understanding the problems no and once you appreciate that no
Mhm.
only then no should you let's say take the advice of astrologer. So it's like it's a two-way thing no? You have to you cannot just accept everything that an astrologer will tell you. You have to know the basis. And once no, you saw that, no, you yourself no, will sort of be led no, to the right action with respect to your planetary configuration at birth or birth chart.
Yeah, and it's a
Mhm.
good thing that you mentioned that also because, of course, a disclaimer with our predictions episodes, of
Yeah.
course, is that you don't have to take,
Follow.
you don't have to follow what the predictions are. These are, just guides, maybe
Mhm.
that could influence whatever decisions you have to make or whatever choices you decide to do in 2024. So you don't have to take it all in like
Yeah.
100%. Yes, this is exactly what it means.
Yeah. It's still up to you.
Yeah, it is still your life. It is still up to you what you want to do. Now, remind us again, how did you discover astrology? And then when did your fascination for it begin?
Yeah, fascination. I've always been fascinated no, with the stars, night sky, But yeah, astrology became helpful to me when I was, I think, in high school or college. High school, I think, no? Because uh, it was able to help me understand my
Mm-hmm.
feelings my problems at the time, the decisions I have to make so yeah, it was very helpful no? It's like well, let's say I my parents actually died no, when I was very young no? So there was that longing no, to let's say some to get to have some form of guidance. So that guidance I got it from astrology.
Oh,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
see. Okay. And so that pretty much started your
Yeah,
curiosity na rin into
yeah,
astrology.
no, because it was helpful to me. So eventually, I studied more, and then people started asking me questions, and I was able to answer them. So I studied more and more. When I encountered some problems that I cannot answer, so I studied more and more.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that astrology became like a sense of comfort for you when
Initially,
yeah,
yes.
initially.
Yes.
That's awesome. And so um astrology is so fascinating, especially with medieval astrology because it is practical. So that also leads us into our second round of
Okay.
personal reading. So let's go
uh,
for it. We have Franz. Franz is a grade 12 student from Las Piñas Science High School. Hi, you should be sleeping. There's no time and date of birth though. Would that work or still
what's
no?
the date? Do we have the date?
Is there a date of birth? If there is one, okay, France, we will hold your prediction muna, and then let's move on to Mitch first.
Mitch. Okay.
March 23, 1978, 7:30 a.m. So what will her life look like in 2024?
Okay, so the question is more of a general, no,
Mm-hmm.
prediction. So it's different from let's say advice giving,
Mm-hmm.
detail or practice that I'm doing. But to answer the question, general guide for the year. Okay, okay. She's having a Jupiter return uh, in 2024, starting May or middle of the year. So that's from May to May. So you are beginning a new phase of your life. So normally Jupiter is about wealth or career, whichever is applicable. So
Mm.
go for something new by middle of the year. So uh, and then connected with that is that maybe right now she's undergoing an ending phase. No? So the good thing is you are ending a new phase. You are ending a phase of your life, but you are also beginning a new one, starting May and June.
Okay, and so this is in terms of wealth and career, and that there is some change happening mid-year in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Mitch, I hope you're ready for that. Next, we do have Franz finally with the birthday finally at August 5, 2005, born at 9:02 a.m. So Franz would like to ask about his luck and prediction regarding his college entrance exam.
Okay.
This is like a yes or no question, so I don't know how Resti's going to answer this.
Okay. So his ninth house, which is connected with higher education, will be hit or expanded, no, by Jupiter next year. No, but that would be May or June, starting May or June. I don't know so he's sort of
I believe he is
he
a
did, no, he just
C. Yeah, so I
he
think he
just
just took the exam, waiting
uh,
for the results.
uh,
Next year, they usually come out. Yeah.
okay. So, yeah, so this is more of parang hula type, no, and a question. So it's more of whatever is the outcome, because Jupiter is in the ninth house of expansion in education. It's still going to be a good year in education for him.
Okay, so good year for education. However, wherever you plan to study, friends, hopefully, well, I'm hoping it's your dream school. No, but I'm not the astrologer here. I am well wishing lang. Okay, and we'll do okay, let's do a couple more. Next one we have Jane. December 9, 1972. And then the time of birth is 7:32 a.m. Regarding starting anew in another country. And in terms of love life and health, I believe. Actually, all fields, another country, career, love life, health. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too much. Actually, we cannot see everything here. I mean,
Okay.
with
So
the
what can we
limited
tell
time,
her? What can we
limited time
tell
that we
her?
have. Okay. Well, we usually look at the. Okay. Her area of career will be eclipse. No? So as with all eclipses, no,
Life changing.
our description is life changing. No? So where in the area of career? No? So maybe, yeah, I think, no, because eclipses come in cycles and in twos. No, so the career will be affected as well as the house or location. So normally,
Mm.
when that happens, no, the question of moving or relocating is also will be on the plate. No? So
Mhm.
yeah, so deciding on whether to move abroad is also an option.
Okay, so at least it's aligned, no, in terms of her starting a new life, new life in another country tied to her career. Is it safe to say that she is in the right direction? Would be in it's a step in the right direction for her.
Okay, I'm not very sure because her her planet of travel is not very strong, but it's more of yes, it's all right to consider some changes in career and location.
Mm.
Let's say if she will be consulting with me, we can look at the detail. For example, even there's an astrocartography map,
Mm.
no? So we can check which country. No? Minsan, the clue is there, no? But
Wow.
we cannot do it here.
Ayun.
In case
There, if you want to have
uh,
a consultation with the Filipino astrologer to know where
uh,
you're gonna move,
because the
there's
question
a
is
map
yeah,
pala.
yeah, the questions are complex, no?
There we go.
Mm.
Okay. So one more before we ask a few more questions to close out the show. So let's go to Jessel. July 15, 1991. Time of birth is 8 p.m. So predictions or forecasts rather on career and love life.
Career, maybe we can say that there might be good news because there were difficult let's say the past 2 years might have been difficult for her career because of the eclipses, no? So the eclipses in her career chart, no, career area is no longer active, no? So we can say that it's more stable now.
All right, more stability in your career,
Mhm.
Jessel.
Okay, with regards to love life, what will be highlighted by May onwards is the fifth house, which is associated with number one, relationship. If she's if single, having a child if married, no, or simply having fun.
Okay, so is it kind of like upgrading it or like just something happening? There
It,
will be movement.
I think it depends on the current situation. So
Mm,
if the person is single, there will be more opportunities now to
okay.
find someone. If married, no, opportunities to have a child. No?
Okay.
Or generally speaking, is going to be an easy or happy year.
All right, there we go, Jessel. Thank you to all the monsters who are sending in your requests. We will try to slip in one last batch of readings before we end the show. Before we do, though, let's talk about your astrology guides. So,
Mhm.
this is the one that's a little bit more specific, a little bit more helpful, and you release this every year.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So tell us what these guides are. I know there are six, like you mentioned, but then you narrowed it down to three
Yeah.
this time. So what are the three now that you're
Yeah.
focusing on?
I have actually because I'm doing many things now. I mean, because we are working on a magazine which is supposed to be for newbies. No? So
Mm.
if you are new to astrology, you can avail of the magazine. You know? So right now I'm rebranding that three ebooks, no, into I call it now Faith or Filipino Astrologer Timing Essentials for Business.
Ah, I like it.
Yeah.
Nice, nice branding.
So it's now more focused on business people, no? So let's say I have categorized, no, let's say each day of the year, whether it's good or bad, no, for making business transactions. So if you're a business person or somebody who's really very busy, no, let's say CEO, CFO, marketing manager, something like that. No? So you can use these timing guides to schedule, let's say months ahead, no, when will be your launching,
Mm.
when should be the best time to have a big event, no, when to sign contracts, no, something like that. No? So I have created several levels, of timing from long term to, let's say, monthly, weekly, and even to the hour. The second book actually is called Astro Hour. So within the day, there are categories. No, let's say Venus Hour is good for love, having a date.
What time is Venus hour?
It
Just
changes every
curious.
year.
Oh, it
So
changes every
sorry,
year.
sorry, it changes every day.
Day. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So you have that in the calendar. So it's 365 days. There's an hour for love, an hour for business, an hour for family,
Mm.
for writing, for creating arts. No? So yeah, so you can use that, no, for whatever purpose. And the ebook, no, will is there. No? For easy reference, you can just look what time we want to schedule something.
Mm.
So if you saw that it's a Mars hour, you want to have a date. So you change the hour. So
Mm-mm.
instead of you start it at let's say 5 p.m., you start at let's say 8 p.m. instead.
I find it interesting that there is a an hour for love that changes every day. So, for example, if you want to go on a date, nga, it's like compromise and change the date. You say no, this is the right time. You
Yeah,
have to trust me.
yeah, yeah.
Kasi screenshot mo yung yung book, yung emo. Pakita mo na
Yeah.
lang. Okay, so where can monsters find these ebooks? They're ready. They're available na.
Yes,
Mhm.
some of it.
Oh, so, okay, okay.
Because I offer it as a set. As a set.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for those who are interested and will probably wait for it, where can they find it? Should they
Yes.
want to order?
I have an FB page, no, the Filipino Astrologer FB page on Facebook. Yeah, and then they can find the announcements, no, and links or email, no, or they can just send me an email, filipinoastrologer@gmail.com.
All right, there we go. And so, nearing the end of the show, we're talking about the astrology magazine now. So you said it's more for beginners, those who are just diving into astrology, and it's called Tala Talks.
Tala Talks,
Okay, so tell us more about that. What you can expect from browsing through that magazine.
Mhm. Aligned with Tala Talks is actually we also have a live stream. No? It's called Tala Talks naman, TOKS. No? So the magazine is more a more formal presentation of what we have discussed in the live stream. No? So we discuss various topics. But what's good with the magazine is that we use less astrological jargon. No? So
Okay.
so total newbies can easily understand the basic astrological concepts, and some of our writers are actually also newbies, no, so based on their understanding of astrology, you know, they were able to present some tips, no, on studying it, no, and applying it.
All right. Well, so where will this be available? And where can monsters find it? Should they be curious about medieval astrology, learning more about it?
Yeah, again, they can find it through my FB page, Filipino Astrologer.
Mhm.
We are actually talking with a publisher right now.
Nice.
So,
Congratulations.
I don't know yet, no, how the extent of the where you can get
Have you
it.
consulted the astrology
Uh,
on that?
Actually, we are trying to delay it, no, because right now it's Mercury retrograde period.
There we
So
go.
I practice know what I preach.
Okay, okay. Well, hopefully that will be ready soon, as well as the ebooks as well. If it's all right with you, we'll do a few more readings.
Yeah,
If
sure.
that's okay. Okay. So last few reading sponsors, we have a few. We've got Clang. Clang, birthday August 11, 1991. Time of birth is 1:55. So I will just choose one of the questions.
1:55 a.m. Yeah.
1:55 a.m. So let's go with the question number 2. Will she be able to race a triathlon or join a triathlon and other cycling events in the second half of 2024? So in terms of her, because there is a plan of her moving abroad,
Mhm.
is it possible for her to still join a triathlon and other cycling events in the second half of 2024?
Okay, so first thing is that her ascendant sign is Gemini. So
Oh,
as
it's
we
her
mentioned,
year.
yeah, it's as we mentioned earlier, it's a lucky period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, when we talk about the rising sign, it's actually the body. No,
Oh,
okay.
I see. Okay.
So maybe part of the reason for the question was that she might have felt, let's say, weak in the past few months. No? But when Jupiter enters her ascendant sign by mid-year, she will actually be more, let's say, capable of
Oh,
or
there we
more able,
go.
to join, that physically, physically, but part of the
In terms of her traveling,
that's another
that would be
matter.
another issue.
So
Yeah.
she has to decide, which is the priority. But in terms of
Mm,
capability, she can be more capable of joining. But the question of relocation is another thing.
okay.
So that
Okay.
makes it more complex.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, hopefully things align for you, Clang, and that you're able to do both as much as possible. Fingers crossed for
Yeah,
you.
it's a matter of
Yeah.
managing it. No?
Yeah.
But the general answer is both are good, no, because she is lucky. But
Yeah.
if she cannot do
Mm,
these two things at the same time, she just have to
yeah.
choose.
Yeah, I feel
Mm.
like I was just gonna get to that. I think it's just a matter of choosing when I guess she decides, when she
Mm.
finds out when she gets sponsored by the company that she was mentioning, where she will when she will be moving, and then from there choose which events that you would like to
Mm.
join.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we also have Kayla, August 13, 1991. Time of birth is 6 a.m. And she would just like to know her fortune forecast for 2024. Sino tong si Kayla? Just kidding.
Okay. She, the planet of luck will be in the house of friends, no, and also generally it's called fortune also. So it's going to be a fortunate year. There are also, okay, although there is going to be an eclipse on her house of money.
Life changing. That's my only takeaway.
Okay, no. So she has several planets in the house of money, and all of these will be hit, no, by an eclipse, and also Saturn. So okay, so whenever there is Saturn, she needs to review, what is important to her. And since this is about money, it's a question of, are you earning enough, or what can you do, to address, let's say maybe additional needs, or whatever. So she has to answer that, and the eclipse will just sort of intensify, that need, or indicate some form of urgency to decide. The eclipse will be in September, so as early as now, that let's say self-analysis or introspection should start, regarding what do you really want to do. Is it giving you enough, or what else can you do?
All right. So, Kayla, this is how you approach 2024. And finally, okay, finally we have Tim. So Tim's birthday December 19, 1998, born 9:30 p.m. He just celebrated his birthday. So happy birthday. Happy birthday, Tim. What is his general outcome? Yep, 1998. General outcome for 2024. I will ask for mine when we're off air.
Okay, so the eclipse, there will be two eclipses hitting his chart. Number one, it's Saturn. Saturn is about stability issues, father issues, or home or land related matters. And then also Mars will be eclipse. No? Mars is about travel, also education, and also home, again, home, family, and land. No? So decision making. No? So if the question was,
General, it's just general
yeah,
forecast.
it's a general forecast. No? Okay, so with regards to luck, somehow there's luck through friends, but there are important questions, to answer, or important decisions to make regarding home, family, education, and travel.
All right, there we go, Tim. Thank you to all the monsters who have sent in their info, their questions as well. If we didn't get to your questions, don't worry. We have 3 more Thursdays with 3 more astrologers. So if you want your questions answered, then just tune in again next week and then the week after that, and then the week after that, until you finally get the forecast that you've been waiting for. So, is there anything else that you would like to add?
Can I announce? No,
Sure.
I'll be offering a free webinar on forecasting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so,
so-
just is it just like to learn how to read the?
It's more on how to approach.
Okay.
Yeah. So with some, of course, with some guidelines for the year. No? So I'll be offering a webinar. It's free on December 28th.
Okay, so for all you monsters who are interested, and this is in terms of medieval astrology.
Yes, a combination also with feng shui.
Okay, there we go. So for monsters who are interested in learning more about medieval astrology, as well as feng shui, how to combine the two or how to integrate the two in your life, then join the webinar from the Filipino astrologer himself on December 28th. What time is it?
In the evening. So they can just look at my FB page for the announcements and details.
All right, there we go. Thank you very much, Resti, for finally meeting each other in person and for sharing your insight as well as your forecast as well for the monsters who have sent in their personal readings. So that is it for our first episode of Predictions 2024. Catch me again next Thursday for more predictions, more astrology, and maybe some tarot reading to move things along as well. So that is it for Heard on Thursdays. For now, keep it locked only here on The Monster. Bye.
Monster exclusive interview. Monster exclusive interview. Only from Manila's hottest. Monster RX93.1.
Join in, hear it out. Heard on Thursdays. Be part of the conversation. Intelligent